Take two and action. Unfortunately, I recorded this, but the file corrupted, so that is not ideal. And I'm going to repeat what I said last time. Is anyone bugged by that successful there? I spelled that right? But why is the L below? That's kind of bugging me. But anyway, what we are doing here, we are ranking world-class footballers and how they have done in management. Of course, these vary as some of them haven't had too long in management, where some of them have had their entire career. So, yeah, I'm going to try and give some of them leeway, but also I'm going to try and be a little bit harsher. So we've got world-class at both. We've got successful, decent, bad, and pundit. Should they have stayed as a pundit. But anyway, let's kick it off with the first one, Roy Keane. Very controversial type of character, we all know that. Big name in the sport, a hard man. Done well with Sunderland, but didn't really stay long. He never really has stayed long in a job. So for me, I'm going to put him just on the bad category. Just comes out, I don't think it worked out as well as it could have. Next one is Jaap Stam. Honestly, probably went worse than Keane. One of the most underrated defenders in my eyes of the Premier League era. Jaap Stam, what a defender. But unfortunately, as a manager, he's managed so many different clubs. Club in America, club in the Netherlands, club in England with Reading. Done quite well there, actually. Got to the playoff final, but eventually got sacked due to a poor run of form. So, yeah. Next we're going to do is Zinedine Zidane. I mean, how can you not put world class at both? Multiple-time Champions League winner as a manager as well as a player. Absolute baller. Love bold as well. Beautiful. Next one is Fabio Cannavaro, a bit more of an upcoming manager for the Rams. Currently now the manager of Uzbekistan, which is very interesting, but is also managed Udinese, done really well to keep them in the Premier League. Sorry if that went off then for a second. That was just me trying to brighten down the volume before I go blind. But yeah, Fabio Cannavaro, it's always hard to judge. I'm going to give him a little bit of leeway, purely because he still is a very young coach. Zola, I mean, you can't say Zola did a good job as a manager, really. Spent spells at Watford, West Ham and Birmingham. Terrible at Birmingham. Watford was the manager, actually, during the Troy Deeney moment. Everyone remember that. West Ham as well. Absolute icon and honestly one of the most loveliest men you'll ever meet. But didn't work out for him, has he, as a manager. Next one is Paul Scholes. You probably had to put pundit. I feel a little bit sorry for him due to the spell he had at Oldham. Just didn't work out. And also he got sacked way too early due to Oldham's financial. Actually, I think he left, actually. I don't think he got sacked. I think he left due to Oldham's financial situation. But yeah, pundit. Next one we on to is Wayne Rooney. Did alright at Derby in my opinion, but at the same time there wasn't much pressure on him at Derby. DC United, did okay in America, but if we're going to talk about his career, let's just say that with Birmingham City and Plymouth, I think we can all both agree that ended pretty horribly. That basically converted him in 2 relegations, really, even though he wasn't the manager that took them down, but he contributed towards that downfall. Next one is Steven Gerrard. This is a bit more difficult one to rank because Gerrard had a successful spell at Rangers, but after Rangers, since leaving them to Aston Villa, which you can't blame him for, due to moving to a big club again, but in a bigger league. But yeah, Gerrard for me didn't really work out at Villa. Went to Al Safak in Saudi Arabia, but I'm going to put him in the top end of bad. Next one is Frank Lampard. Honestly, still kind of early to rank him, but decent. Got Chelsea to the Champions League quarterfinals, beating Atletico Madrid. A big part of that moment that led on to Chelsea winning the Champions League, despite he wasn't the manager that got them to win it. But still helped them towards that way. Developed some good players at Chelsea, which are still regular first-teamers in and around the Premier League. Unfortunately, his spell at Everton was horrific. But he's doing really well with Coventry City now in the Championship, so I'm going to give him a little bit of leeway, despite his awful spell, and also playoff finalists with Derby County, but despite that awful spell with Everton, I'm going to put him in the decent. Next one is Glenn Hoddle. Glenn Hoddle's an interesting one. I'm going to put him in the decent instead of Lampard. Honestly, Glenn Hoddle, probably one of the most underrated footballers, of his time. Absolute brilliant player. But yeah, decent manager. England, Swindon. He done alright. Did okay. Next one is Henri. Honestly, probably just as bad as Rooney. Actually, I don't know. Right, but yeah, Pundit managed Monaco, Montreal, I think was assistant coach at Belgium. And it just hasn't worked out for him as a coach. Despite being one of the great players, of our game. Unfortunately, that didn't work out in management. Next one is Motta, still quite a young manager, draw specialist, I like to call him, because I believe he drew half of his games at Juventus. Like 0-0 and 1-1 or something like that. But yeah, Thiago Motta, I don't want to put him bad, even though I am going to, but I mean, he's still a young manager, I think, with still a lot to show, so I'm going to put him toward the top end of bad. Next one is Patrick Kluivert. Let's get into ranking Patrick Kluivert as a manager. Again, probably towards the bad, area. Patrick Vieira, again, so many spells. Patrick Vieira went to France with Strasbourg. Premier League with Crystal Palace, probably more of his famous spell. Went to Genoa, in Italy. Seems like he's trying to make it everything. All he needs to do next is Spain and Germany. But yeah, Patrick Vieira, the iconic player, did all right with Palace to begin with. Palace, the Lise, Eze at the time, doing really well. Also, Odson Edouard, which is a name that some Palace fans might remember. But yeah, it just hasn't gone as brilliant as what it could have. So I'm going to put him just behind Thiago Motta for me. Next one is Xavi. Honestly, you've got to put him in successful, still linked to big jobs, despite being sacked by Barcelona. But winning the league with Barcelona, dethroning Real Madrid is always a good achievement, especially in Barcelona's financial predicament at the time. So yeah, successful in my opinion anyway. Next one is Paul Ince, a very underrated player, but unfortunately, as a manager, just didn't work out for him. He spent times at Reading, other clubs as well that are just escaping my mind. It's annoying me now what club. There was another club at Reading, more of his recent example. Spent a bit of time at Reading, kept them up in the Championship, and then just couldn't really kick on the season after. Next one's going to be Daniel De Rossi. Again, still a fairly, young manager to rank. Still early on. Did he manage Borussia? Then went to Roma. Now currently the manager replacing, funny enough, Patrick Vieira at Genoa. But for now, I'm just going to put him in the bad category. I'm going to put him a little bit in around the middle towards Fabio Cannavaro-ish, because of, the fact that he still is a very young manager and he's still got a long way to go. Next one is Kevin Keegan, a very famous name in football, very famous for his, Liverpool footballing ability. But also famous in terms of his media match interviews. Love it if we beat them. Love it. But yeah, Kevin Keegan, legend of football. I feel like it'd be hard to describe that. Definitely a very good England player. He was a decent manager. Yeah, he was a decent manager. Next one is Van Nistelrooy. Did well at PSV. Did well at Man United. Temporary, I think he won all of his games, actually, if I'm not wrong. Or at least, I think, won majority of them, or 75% of the games that I think he only had 3 games, though, temporary in charge. Maybe a little bit more. But yeah, Van Nistelrooy, terrible at Leicester, though. That was horrific, what he did with Leicester. I reckon Cooper would have done better if he'd have stayed in charge. But yeah, I feel like I've got to put him in bad for that reason. But again, he still is a young manager, so I'm going to be a little bit more generous towards Van Nistelrooy, because he did well with PSV too. Next one is Mark Hughes. Honestly, people don't talk about enough about Mark Hughes in terms of how good of a footballer he was for Manchester United. But yeah, Mark Hughes managed so many clubs, such experienced manager. I really like Mark Hughes. He's kind of like your granddad, if that makes any sense. When he talks, you listen. And the advice and wisdom, pearls of wisdom. But he's managed so many clubs: Southampton, Stoke, Blackburn, Bradford, Carlisle. Currently the manager of Carlisle. But he's never really achieved anything amazing in his managerial career, but he has managed majority of his time in the top flight. So, it's a difficult one where to actually put him. I'm sorry, Mark Hughes, but I'm going to have to put you towards the top end of bad. I'm sorry. I just feel like considering the player you were, how good you were as a manager, you just couldn't take that next step. Also managed Man City as well. That completely just escaped my head. I really want to put him in decent. Pure just because of that, but I'm going to try and be brutal and put him in bad. I'm giving Lampard the benefit of the doubt in decent, but because just how well he's doing right now. Next one is Trevor Francis, managed Birmingham City, Sheffield Wednesday, Crystal Palace as well. Yeah, it's a difficult one to rank Trevor. I think a very underrated footballer. Obviously world class in my opinion. He's never achieved anything big in his career. He got to the final of the Worthington Cup. He is literally nicknamed like the playoffs are his nemesis. He's lost like 3 or 4 playoff matches, in separate, seasons. Just couldn't get Birmingham City promoted somehow. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to put him in bad. Again, rest in peace, Trevor. However, I am going to be a little bit kinder to you, because you, a bit like Mark Hughes, some regard that, you're a pearl of wisdom, and you've managed so many games, and you have created so many great moments. So I'm going to put him top end of bad, maybe. Next one is Xabi Alonso. Honestly, how can you not put him in successful? What a job he done with Leverkusen. Almost won the treble, I believe. With Leverkusen, unfortunately lost at Atalanta. But yeah, great manager, Xabi Alonso. Done well with Leverkusen. I mean, you're Real Madrid manager for a reason, aren't you? So yeah, successful. Next one, Kenny Dalglish. This is a difficult one, actually. Dalglish, I think, mostly famous for his Premier League, winning season with Blackburn. With Alan Shearer, Chris Sutton, Tim Sherwood. Yeah, he's a successful manager, but I don't know whether he goes in world class at both, because he isn't a serial winner, do you know what I mean? Like, he hasn't, despite winning the Premier League, which is still a great achievement, he was never, I would say at one point, one of the best managers in the country, or like up to another level. I am going to put him at successful, though. I am going to put him at successful. Next one is Gary Neville. Yeah, I think we all know where he goes. Pundit, obviously Valencia, didn't work out well. There's a good video, actually. I can't remember who it's by, though, but of talk about Gary Neville's journey with Valencia. Next one is Vincent Kompany. Honestly, he is doing a very good job, and I'm going to put him in the successful, because he has been successful. With Burnley, done great to get them into the Premier League. With Bayern Munich, win the league with Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich look absolutely incredible at the moment. So yeah, you've got to put him in successful, in my opinion. Great manager. Next one we're going to go for is Graham Souness. Probably Pundit again, didn't work out as a manager. So yeah, Pundit really is my opinion. Next one is Steve Bruce. Never managed long times at the top flight, even though he has at the same time. But, I feel like most of us he's famous for his promotions with various clubs. Promoted with Hull, promoted with Birmingham, promoted with so many other clubs. So he's literally managed everybody. Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday. He's managed all them clubs. He's managed so many different clubs, so many various promotions, and so many games as well managed in English football. I'm going to put him in decent, ahead of Lampard, because of the experience, the amount of games he has managed, and the amount of promotions he has gained as well. Next one is Johan Cruyff. Honestly, how can you not put him at world class at both? The man literally changed the game for managers. What a coach. Next one is Ronald Koeman. Southampton, Everton, Barcelona, Netherlands national teams. Went well at Southampton. Everton fell off towards the end, even though he started off okay. Barcelona did a meh job with Barcelona, but never really, hitting that height. And then the Netherlands, again, probably should have done better. But he still has experienced a lot of games, high-level games, and, he has won and created good memories. So, yeah, I am going to put him at decent. Just. Laurent Blanc, most recent manager of Al Ittihad, I believe, in Saudi Arabia. It's a difficult one to rank, to be honest with you, Laurent Blanc. Manager of PSG as well. But I feel like, considering the higher name of world-class footballer, he was never, boom, So, yeah, I'm going to put him towards bad. Top end of bad, maybe. Next one is Andre Pirlo. I thought he was going to do really well, but again, just hasn't worked out. He's managed Juventus, Sampdoria. I think he's been a brief spell in Turkey as well. He just hasn't worked out for him, so I'm going to put him in, bad. Yeah, I'm going to put him in bad. Hasn't worked out for him. Maradona, unfortunately for Maradona, it didn't work out for him. He managed so many clubs, the famous Maradona, but unfortunately, I mean, I feel like it's a little bit disrespectful to put him in Pundit, but I'm going to put him in bad, because he wasn't a great manager, but a fantastic player. And the final one, What a manager. Won the leagues everywhere. Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Manchester City, obviously the most famous Champions League winner. How can you not put him up there? Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you all have enjoyed it, drop a like and follow. Have a great day, everybody. Take care. Legends.